Hello and welcome back to the Heroes Journal podcast. I'm Kyle.
I'm Nick.
And we didn't do this for a while, so I don't know what number episode this is, but I would say that it's safe to say that it's not the first one.
It's not the first one. It's a bit of not a reconnaissance. That would be different. A renaissance.
A renaissance, sure.
Is that the right word?
Why not?
A reemergence.
Sure, that's great too. I like the We're working on this thing. It's
recycled.
Yeah, especially with Rihanna becoming a billionaire recently. Got to have a lot of the re's.
It's a big deal.
The re's.
Yeah.
Anyways, we're back, better than ever, and if you are someone who only ever watched our podcast and got no other content from the Heroes Journal except for the podcast, a ton of stuff has changed since the last podcast.
Yeah, so the four of you, I hope that we don't upset you guys.
Yeah, it's a very different world here, and I think that we're emerging better, but I think that we should just talk about maybe some of the things that have changed since, and then I have a couple brain buster questions for Nick. So.
Oh, great. I don't remember the last time we did a podcast. I'm assuming it was probably sometime during Kickstarter or maybe even before we launched our Kickstarter.
Yeah, I would assume that February is a good.
Why don't we do a recap,
month by month?
On the last episode of the Heroes Journal? I mean, not necessarily that month by month, but just the big cliff notes. So we got funded on Kickstarter. We launched a new product we'd never made before, the Astoria Magic Academy. It was very well received. And we actually we're finishing up August now. Just this month, we fulfilled that Kickstarter and are continuing to tie up any tiny loose ends here and there. Mm-hmm. I would say right now we're about 95% fulfilled, which is great. You know, that was a really, really huge deal. It was a really big goal of ours when we started this year, was to launch a new Kickstarter, and we raised $302,000. Which 2 years ago we only did $15,000. So
yeah, is that what, a 2,000% increase?
You're the math guy. You know, it's more than last time, which I think is what I'm looking at. Mm-hmm. So anyway, super exciting. But you know, we have a lot of feelings about Kickstarter, fulfilling Kickstarters, the kind of strain it puts on your business, the kind of strain it puts on your customers and your relationship with your customers. So anyway, that was just one of the cliff notes, one of the things that happened.
It's true.
Yeah.
We for the first time ever made shirts in May, and Nick is wearing one of the sweatshirts.
That's right. Yeah, these are great.
And I'm wearing a hat.
Yeah, we made merch. We sold out. So no, I'm just kidding. We made really good merch actually that I'm actually really proud of. We held off on making apparel for a long time, probably too long to be honest. And that was me putting my foot down and saying we're not doing it until I know for a fact it can be high enough quality to where I would actually want to wear it. Yeah, you know. And look at this. And look at this. This wasn't planned. And believe it or not, the hoodie you are wearing,
it's the same hoodie.
Same exact hoodie. You know, for those who want to hear about how the sausage is made, this is the same hoodie, just different prints on it. For those watching, you'll be able to tell a difference. For those not watching, Kyle is wearing a hoodie from a YouTube channel that we both watch, but you started watching first, called The Spirited Man.
With Van Neistat.
Who's Casey Neistat's brother, I believe.
Yes.
It's really, really good content.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're supporting that channel. So we're wearing the same hoodie. Yeah. Clothes are good. We did that for the first time.
Yeah. We went to our first ever convention in June.
Yeah, that's right. We bucked up a little bit and we were like, you know what? We never sold this thing to anyone in person. We never looked anyone in the eye and given them a journal. And we're going to step up. We're going to sell our product like good old fashioned entrepreneurs do. And it's been a wild ride. Since June, we've done 4 different conventions of vastly different sizes. Our first one was here in Washington. It was about 5,000 people. We did one in North Carolina. So we flew all the way out there. We learned about shipping product across the US, doing some freight, receiving at the con, setting up a booth, and just the absolute physical strain of traveling to a new place, adjusting to, a time zone, and then spending a whole weekend working. Yeah. It's not a vacation. You're actually going from going 60 miles an hour to 80 miles an hour. Yeah. And you're getting behind anyway
on everything else.
Yeah. Not to speak negatively about it. It's a lot of fun. It's like an electric environment, but after the fact, there's a little bit of like conference hangover.
Then we came back and we started fulfilling our Kickstarter.
Yeah.
And then after a week of fulfilling our Kickstarter, we flew out to Orlando, Florida for Megacon, which had about, I don't think they had 100,000 people there. I don't think so. Being someone who, it just doesn't seem like there's 100,000.
It's hard to gauge. I mean, it was certainly without a doubt the biggest con.
Oh, of course.
No question. But 100,000 people, I don't know. It's kind of hard to tell.
And then we went from Megacon to Washington, D.C. for AwesomeCon. And AwesomeCon was a lot of fun as well. Yeah. We sold out on Saturday, so we just like took all of Sunday off because we had nothing to sell, which is interesting.
Good problem.
I have a thought, and maybe for the couple of viewers that are going to watch or listen, I kind of want to compare our sales pitches. I kind of want to do a little role play and see whose sales pitch they like, because we approach it from a very different perspective.
Yeah.
And maybe people give us pointers on maybe when we go to our next couple of cons.
Why don't you give me your pitch?
All right. Are you gonna role play with me? Or are you gonna play nice?
I mean, yeah. Do you need me to talk with you?
Yeah.
I guess yours is a little.
I'm an interactive salesperson.
That's true. Yeah. All right. Give me the thing.
So have you ever heard of the Hero's Journal before?
Yeah, I'm the founder actually. No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead. Yeah. I know. What is this?
Have you ever used like a day planner or a goal planner before?
I have. Yeah.
So I mean, if you're anything like me, you probably have like one or two of those that are unfinished.
Tons of them unfinished.
Me too. That's like, honestly, that's why this whole thing exists, is because
so much money I've wasted.
Yeah. It's honestly like, it kind of be a little bit shameful, right?
Well, I mean, yeah, it's like, it becomes like a reminder of everything I didn't do, you know?
Exactly. And I think that the biggest bummer about all those things is not just that you're mad at the journals, but you're a little bit mad at the actual goal itself, right? You set out to accomplish this goal, and because that goal was assigned to a shameful journal that wasn't finished, now you kind of hate that goal as well, right?
Hate the goal, hate myself, hate journaling. I mean, you know, hate everything.
Anyways, I'm not trying to make you feel bad about yourself.
I feel terrible so far.
Anyways,
is that what this journal does?
So the idea behind the Hero's Journal is that we wanted to create a journal that you would actually want to finish.
Okay.
So we thought to ourselves, what is something that would help us actually finish one of these things? And we honestly thought to ourselves, we said, anything short of a wizard showing up at our door with an epic quest probably would go unfinished. So we decided, you know what, let's make that, because why not? We make the rules here. So we took a lot of the things we liked. We took all the productivity tools, such as having like a calendar or to-do list. And then we took also some of the positive mental health stuff, such as like gratitudes, or having some ideas of positive forces that are going to help us achieve our goal, maybe some negative forces. Yeah. And we combine that with an epic story of a hero named you. So
got it.
You're the hero of the story.
Oh, I see. It's like the hero's journal, like the hero's journey kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like Joseph Campbell.
Yeah. Well, a little different, but anyways. So the coolest part about the journal, and then this is the part where I open the journal.
Right. The visual aid. Yeah. You have me locked in now.
Yeah. Is that you see this little hero right here? That's you. And every day the story actually progresses along with you.
Oh, okay. I see.
So it's like the slowest flip book in the world. So even on a day where you don't feel like making positive progress on this goal that you set for yourself, you actually give yourself a reason, because you have to figure out what happens next.
Right. Okay.
And as you go through it, you'll actually see the stories change. The story will change over the course at different chapters.
That's cool. I see that.
And gives you some opportunities to reflect, so that by the end, not only have you accomplished your goal, not only have you gotten a little bit more organized and told yourself a really positive story about yourself, but you actually get a diploma from the Astoria Magic Academy.
Oh, look at that.
You're a full-fledged wizard now.
Wow. That's that's amazing. That's great.
Yeah. And the most exciting part is that you accomplished your goal. You saw yourself do something for a certain amount of time. It's undated, so there's no shame about it. That's great. You told yourself that you're a hero for a certain amount of time, which is probably the biggest thing that you could ever ask for.
Wow.
So
where do I sign up?
You can go to our website, theheroesjournal.co, and you can buy one for $7,000.
All right.
And cut.
All right. It's not bad.
It's a long pitch.
It's very long.
Yeah.
It's
engaging.
Yeah.
It's a conversation.
We're different people too. You like to talk to people, and I don't like to talk to people.
That's fair.
So like if I was at a con and I walked up to someone's booth and they started talking to me, I would feel I'd want them to get away from me.
Interesting.
So I tend to, there's no right or wrong, but I tend to veer towards giving people space.
Yeah.
And I let them kind of initiate the pitch. So, and it kind of depends. Like, there's a lot of things we don't get to experience here, in the podcast, but my pitch is a lot more consolidated. Usually if someone comes up and they start to flip through it and they kind of look through it and they're not just passing by, you can tell they're going to park for a second and take a look at it. I go, hey, have you heard of the Hero's Journal before?
No, I haven't.
Great. Well, I'll give you the quick rundown. So I'll grab another journal, not the one they're flipping through.
Of course.
And so they can kind of continue. I go, well, the Hero's Journal is a daily planner that looks at your day like an adventure instead of just a boring old planner.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I will show you what a daily spread looks like. So I open it up to like a daily page and I try and hit the first like daily page of the chapter. Mm-hmm. Sorry, I have like little narrator notes.
Yeah, yeah.
And I go, so this is a daily page right here. Yeah. You write down your quest, you write down your seize the day items instead of your to-do list. You have what you're grateful for. You have a calendar section here. And of course you have your allies and your threats, things that are going to help or hurt you on your way to your quest. Now, one of my favorite parts about the journal is that it's undated. So have you ever used a planner before?
Oh yeah.
So you know that when you miss a couple days in a planner, you have that guilty sinking feeling that you have to return to it. Oh, yeah. You got to skip pages. Terrible feeling. Awful. So we wanted to make sure and make something that was undated and was kind and something that was easy to return to. Okay. So it's undated for that reason. Now, the best part about this whole journal, in my opinion, and I'm one of the co-founders, this is a big deal. Every day as you come to the Hero's Journal, you open it up, there is something new to look at because the art on every single daily pages slowly progresses with you as you progress through the journal.
Oh yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, you kind of get this like unfolding story. It's like the slowest version of a flip book you can imagine. Every 7 days, you hit a chapter break or a reflection section, whatever the journal says. Depends on what version of the journal we're talking about. Yeah. I would say every 7 days, you hit a chapter reflection, reflect on the hero that you're becoming. And the whole idea is that by the very end, it's 91 daily pages. So by the very end, you've made some meaningful progress towards a goal. You've tricked yourself by using story to be a little more organized. And you get a diploma from the Astoria Magic Academy.
Yeah.
That's it.
Where can I buy 50?
Talk to Kyle.
Hey, that's me.
He has a much more robust pitch. He has the 50 journal pitch.
So this is my question that I have for you. I only had one.
Yeah.
I've been seeing this tweet a lot. So Nick and I recently started doing Twitter as well. That's something that's new for us.
It's true.
So I see this tweet and there's a lot, they name like a lot of companies, but the one that I can remember off the top of my head, not like ruin it, is Rolex sells watches, but more so they sell status, right? So the way that Rolex markets themselves, it's more than marketing a watch. It's like marketing who you'll become if you have a Rolex, right?
Yes.
So it's like, it's almost like the Simon Sinek Start With Why thing, right? You're buying a Rolex not because you don't know what time it is. You're buying a Rolex because you want to be seen as somebody who has status.
Yeah.
And it's something that we struggled with in the beginning, right? Because it's like, what do we sell here? Do we tell people about the journal? Or we would tell people about like who they're going to become by using the journal and seeing themselves as a hero specifically.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that when we first started, we had to sell a little bit of dream, but we had to prove to the market that we could make a what? We could actually make the thing.
Yeah.
Before we could sell a dream, because like you can't.
Dreams are cheap.
Yeah, dreams are cheap. But if you can prove that you can make the what, then you can kind of transition into selling whys a lot easier because you already have the trust of the market, right?
Yeah. I mean, best marketing is good product, right? Like at the end of the day, the reason Rolex works is because for 100 years they've made good products, like, and so there's a lot of watch brands that make just as good of a watch, but they just haven't been doing it as long, or as well, or as consistently. And what I think about the journal is that, there's such a challenge. There's so much surface area to cover in a pitch. And because this journal is so, there's so much to it and there's so many angles you can come at it from. You can say it's a mental health journal and you can color it in when you get stressed out. That's true.
It's very true.
You could also say this is a daily planner to help you stay organized and you can get your schoolwork done through it. It lasts a whole semester long. that's a whole different pitch. And you could say this is a book to help you unlock your inner creative and write that next novel or make that next thing or whatever you want to do. And those are all true. And like, I'm not being disingenuous by any means. There's just so many dimensions you can take in our product. So what I realized is like, I'm going to tell you what this is, and then I'm going to give it to you, or you're going to buy it, or you're going to look at our website, and you're going to make sense of it in your own head. Yeah. That's like, that to me, like that's the best I could do as far as,
So this is my next question. So, for those of you who don't know, marketing at the Hero's Journal is very different from our last podcast. Yeah. Zach moved on to go write novels. We worked with the marketing to see who we no longer work with. And we have to kind of almost completely rethink the way that we market and tell people about the Hero's Journal, right? Yeah. So one of my thoughts is that at this stage with the level of, I guess, traction that we've had with the product itself, we've kind of entered a new stage of messaging about the product. Because the world already knows we make a good enough product, that the product itself is high quality and that it's enjoyable to use if you use it. Yeah. But I've noticed that the power that we've had recently with our almost kind of like guerrilla marketing tactics is like really pitching and telling the world about the purpose as to why the thing exists. And having that philosophy deeply woven and almost like following through on the dreams that you and I had about just the experience of having with a brand, right? Like we're writing new email sequences where it's all interactions with the mentor. Right. We were like, I would love it if an old mentor sent me an email and gave me a piece of encouragement. It's a lot less about like, hey, this journal has 90 unique pages. It's much more like you could become the hero of your life. Yeah. And I don't know if you've noticed this change. I've noticed it myself when I talk about our product, but I don't know if you've noticed it internally or if it's kind of a peripheral thought.
No, I mean, not much has shifted for me. I think that cons are also very different than like writing a digital ad, you know, like digital ad, you do kind of have to sprinkle some magic onto it because the problem with the digital ad is like, they don't have the physical product in front of them. Yeah. So it's all like BS as far as they're concerned. Yeah. You know, like we've all seen products on Instagram or Facebook that are kind of like questionable, and maybe you buy them and they show up and they're way worse than you thought. I actually think we have the opposite problem. Yeah. I think that if you see the journal in person, you're like, wow, this thing's really well made. It's really high quality. It's really stunning. But like, what is it? You know? And so there's like some kind of happy medium there. And there's definitely some magic to it. Like, I think that's like more once you get inside, you know? Yeah. Like, cause I think like you can't just do the magic thing. Yeah. You have to earn the magic thing. Like Rolex earned the magic thing. Disney earned the magic thing. But we're nobody quite, you know, like so far. So saying like we have the most magical journal on the planet, it's kind of like, I don't think you do. Yeah. I think we do, but they probably don't. So for me, I think we're still in a place where it's like, here's what this is. Here's how you use it. Here's why it's special. Yeah. And then that's enough for someone to say, okay, I'll try it out. Like I'll see what this is about. And then it shows up and they go, whoa. Okay, this is actually way undersold. Yeah. And I can see how this is going to change my life. Yeah. So I also think that there's like a level of, in just like the productivity / journal market as a whole, we've been conditioned to be overpromised. We really have. Like, well, goal setting in general.
Yeah, it's
goal setting is the definition of overpromise, even to yourself. Yeah, like it's the definition of setting yourself up to be disappointed.
Yeah, and I think that the thing I like about our product is that our product, our journal. I'm trying to think of a way to make it seem better than saying the word product, because the word product seems so like.
I mean, is it a product?
I know, but it's so not fancy. You know, I feel like we're just so fancy.
Say your journal, or our journal.
Our journal. But I think that it refocuses the best case scenario, right? Because the best case scenario in our journal is not that you finish your goal. That's a good case scenario. That's a great outcome. But the best case scenario is that you tell yourself a better story about yourself. Yeah. That's a promise that is like, it's a super big promise and it's super difficult to follow through on. Yeah. But that to me is a more interesting problem to like solve as well. Is how can you help someone through their own actions tell themselves a really, really positive and helpful story for them as they move forward.
Who do you think is the villain in this story? Like if we're looking at the Donald Miller story brand kind of philosophy, who's the villain in the story that we have to make extra evil, extra nefarious, you know?
I think it's...
Because I'll be honest, I think not finishing planners, I don't think that that's a real problem.
It's not, yeah. It's one of those problems. It's really easy to demonize because it's something that happens.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's actually that painful of a thing for people.
Right. It's like how if you buy a car and you're disappointed, that's one thing because you spent a lot more money. But if you buy even a $30 journal, which is a decently high price point, I mean, our price point's even higher, but even if you spend like $30 on a nice moleskin and you end up never using it, that's like not that bad.
Yeah. It's like, you're really not, you're like, it's like a bummer.
It's like you spend $30 at a restaurant, you get a drink, you get food, it's subpar, and you're kind of like, I'm full, I'm also disappointed, but at least I got food in my stomach.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I think about it.
So I would say that the real villain is like the internal voice that doesn't just say like, you're not gonna use this journal.
Yeah.
It's like the step further than that. It's like the voice that says you're not good enough to do that goal. I think that's the real.
Really?
I think the power of our journal is that you have something that opens up every single day. It says that you're more powerful than you think you are, and you're able to actually accomplish those things.
I think that's the philosophical, because remember, I think even in Donald Miller's thing, he talks about like a philosophical evil, you know, like being like big and up in the world. I think that is sort of the thing that we, are fighting against as like a. Yeah. But the hard part about it, right, is it's kind of a theory, like it's sort of like, it's like Pixie does. It's like, it's very grandiose in a sense.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because you're attacking anyone's like lack of being able to achieve something or like what was missing before, which is huge. I mean, that transcends journaling. That's like, oh, you didn't finish school. You didn't graduate from high school. Like, we're going to fight that battle. It's a big battle.
It's a big battle.
So I wonder, like, how would you even shrink that down into like a villain that you could step in a boxing ring with, you know?
So the thing is, and I think this is the philosophical evil that we're also fighting. And then here's the practical application.
Yeah.
So the philosophical evil that we're fighting is that people think to be the hero of your story, you have to go jump 80 feet in the air and stab a dragon in the neck. Like, that's what people think a hero does.
Yeah.
But in reality, it's like, we talked about this on Quest Workshop last night, but it's like the reality is the real heroic moment is the montage they skip over.
Yeah.
It's the incremental progress that they've made day over day over day to train to get to the point where they could jump 80 feet in the air and slay the dragon.
Yeah.
So I think that the thing that the Hero's Journal does and solves the problem is it breaks down the narrative that I need to be perfect today. And it allows you the opportunity to be honest with yourself and to make subtle progression over a long period of time.
Yeah.
And then it gives you, it's engaging enough and it's exciting enough that it'll make you want to open up the journal and allow you to document that progress. Because even if that progress happens and you have nowhere to document it, you can't see it. You can't see the growth.
Yeah. It's hard to keep going when you don't feel like you're moving. But the journal helps you feel like you're moving.
It makes you feel, because now, especially now, because every day is different.
I think that's part of that. Because I don't think you said this in your pitch. Maybe you did, but you did say it when we were at the cons.
I did say the pitch. You actually said you didn't like that part, so I left it out.
The gratification part.
Yeah.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. Because
I like the concept.
You just don't know if it's believable.
Well, the concept's good. So the part of your pitch, and I don't want to butcher it, so correct me if I get it wrong, but you basically say, accomplishing a goal, pursuing a goal is a lot of delayed gratification, which it is. The payoff doesn't come till a long time. But the nice thing about the Hero's Journal is every single daily page, you get something new to look at because the art changes. And so there's a little bit of that immediate gratification to kind of help with that delayed gratification. The part the qualm I had was that I don't think seeing like slightly different art is like, oh man.
Yeah.
I feel gratified, but there's something there.
Yeah.
I think this is like the inverse of the enemy. This is like the goddess, the goodness of what comes from like, the feeling of journaling, whatever that is. I don't know how to capture that and put it in a bottle, but like the feeling that people get after they fill out a daily page when there's chaos in their world, when there's anxiety, when the big problems of the day, the current events mixed with the my boss yelled at me, mixed with someone yelled at me in traffic, mixed with I stubbed my toe, mixed with my kid won't stop crying, all that just insane craziness, dissipates, doesn't go away, but it just kind of quiets itself for a moment as you write down those feelings, as you organize your mind, declutter it onto a page. And I think that is something interesting. I don't know how to talk about that or how to put it into a pitch. And and even further, I don't know how to make that specifically our thing. Yeah. Cause I would say writing in a journal or on a notepad, just brain dumping.
There's a lot of that.
You get a lot of that. So it's I feel like I'm chasing that how to take that feeling and put it into words and then kind of make it our own and brand it our own way. Because there is the heroic twist on it too that I think makes it even better. Yeah. I mean,
yesterday we did that exercise where we read 150 reviews as a team. We just talked about what are the reoccurring words. The word fun and the word coloring came up a lot, but the word calming came up a lot as well.
It did.
So I think that being a journal that someone wants to open, that tells them nice things about themselves, is a safe place. And making it a really low barrier of entry to get those words on a page is probably the way that we solve that problem. Because a blank page is probably the most is probably one of the biggest villains you could ever have. It's terrifying.
Yeah, it's really interesting, right? Because we have whenever you say Calm, I think of the Calm app, the Headspace style meditation app. And their marketing is all about being calm. Marketing is usually about noise, but theirs is about the lack of noise, which is really smart. But we have this weird sort of tension that we have to work out in our marketing and our pitches, whatever it is, how we even think about the journal, which is one part of me is it's the charging of the five armies and the hobbits, this loud, exciting, look at all this art. It's very rich in that way. But the actual emotional outcome of using it is calmness. It's not hyper, I'm going to jump in the air and stab the dragon. It's I'm actually organized and I'm meditative and reflective, and sustainably peaceful. I'm peaceful, I guess is the word. So it's we have this weird balance, right? Where it's look at this crazy journal. It's amazing, but also this is going to make you less anxious.
Yeah. You know? Was I watching this with you? I was watching it on YouTube. I don't remember who it was. So if anyone out there knows who this was and they want to credit them, it's great. But they were talking about why it makes sense for Brett Favre to throw an interception in the fourth quarter and Tom Brady to throw a touchdown.
I haven't heard that.
And the idea is that someone like Brett Favre has a higher resting heart rate, and someone like Tom Brady has a lower resting heart rate.
Interesting.
So even in moments of great anxiety, such as the fourth quarter in a big game, if you're able to train yourself to be calm in hectic moments, you're going to continually make better decisions as you move into more and more stressful environments.
Yeah.
So it's it's not about not being in battle. It's about how you handle yourself while you're in battle and your ability to center yourself and be calm. So it's the reason the Heroes Journal is interesting is because we actually send a lot of excitement and a lot of sensory information to you, but then we also tell you to calm down, right? Yeah. So it's this really interesting blend of we're going to give you the anxiety of a lot of things happening, but we're also going to give you the tools to slow down and to be and be centered.
Right.
So yeah, it's you think about Legolas, right? Not Legolas. Yeah, well, Legolas is a good one. He takes a deep breath.
Yeah.
And it's crazy. And then the whole movie slows down because
it's a slow-mo scene or something.
Yeah, but that's just an example of a hero is somebody who doesn't avoid a battle and actually doesn't allow the battle to get them outside of themselves because they have the tools to handle it. So maybe that's what it is. Kind of an interesting pseudoscience way to look at it.
Just a practice. I mean, our media intake is, what we make in our journal is so far away from anything that would give someone who's mildly familiar with watching multimedia things any level of anxiety.
I know. I was just saying,
other than the fact that other than the fact of maybe the book is too beautiful to write in, and you're afraid you're going to mess up. There's definitely anxiety there, or there's not enough space and it feels kind of claustrophobic. Those are the two cases I could see a of anxiety. I think our art is just, it's a way to trick you into opening the journal.
I wasn't thinking of a negative anxiety. I was just thinking of like something that could be like, it could be a lot if you looked at it. Like,
no, well,
compared to open. I wasn't thinking of like anxiety, like true anxiety. I was just thinking of something that was kind of like fury. It was just kind of like,
you got something loud and something quiet.
Yeah. Loud and quiet. There it is.
And trying to market those at the same time is kind of hard.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're working on getting more pinpointed.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out.
So our goal is to have these be 30-minute little sprint episodes just to kind of hear about how we're doing. This was a little bit of a kind of a recap, as well as a little bit of how we think about our product and kind of what we believe the product can do. Mm-hmm. So yeah, if you have any thoughts on what you think the product is to you, please leave a comment. We'd love to hear all of those things. Or if you want to type out your pitch, and how you would sell the Hero's Journal to somebody. We'd love to hear that as well.
Yeah, write down in the comments. I want to read your pitch for the Hero's Journal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we're trying to get back to doing some more YouTube content as well. So if you're watching us on YouTube, please give us a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And if you listened to a podcast, thank you so much for the download. We are trying to get this done each week now and kind of bringing you a little bit of an inside look at the Hero's Journal.
Yeah. Good stuff.
Thank you so much. Have a good one.
See you guys.